bloody fantastic.
Hello everybody, my name is Goodboy and welcome to a video on the top 10 biggest losers of patch 7.21. While the patch did some great things for some heroes, it was pretty devastating for others. And so I'm going to run through some of those initial heroes that are looking like they're going to have been devastated by this new patch. As always, before the video begins, I'd love you to hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and of course hit the notification buttons as well. I love it when you do that and I'd appreciate it. Thanks. So in at number 10 is Earth Spirit. Earth Spirit reasonably had a reckoning with the boulder, rolling boulder damage reduced from 100 to 70, 80, 90, 100. The boulder smash slow was reduced from 80% to 90%, and the level 15 talent was reduced from plus 200 rolling boulder damage to plus 150. This of course makes complete sense given the fact that this hero was reasonably stable in the recent King Kong Major. And also, Spirit, particularly in professional hands, definitely has devastating impacts. Win rate loss, not too severe though, only 2.71% drop. Sadly, for the average player in the meta, not the best hero to pick right now. In at number 9 is Lich. Lich has seen about similar to Earth Spirit, about 2.7% drop in win rate. Lich saw Frost Shield slow reduced from 35% to 20, 25, 30, 35. Saw the Chain Frost damage reduced from 300 to 500 to 250 to 500. And saw the level 25 talent increase from plus 40% slow to plus 50% slow. So while the talent tree buff was nice in the early to mid game, and as Lich is leveling, his power is significantly reduced. And of course that has a knock-on effect, reducing his game impact. Still a reasonably good hero though, although do be warned, just slightly below a slightly negative win rate. So again, spamming him maybe not the best idea right now. So in at number 8 is Centaur Warrunner. Centaur Warrunner didn't massively see huge levels of nerf, although it's amazing what one change can do. The Retaliate ability no longer gains charges while it is active. And while that may not sound like that big of a deal, it's amazing what that can do to a hero, especially in Centaur's case where he saw a 3% drop in his win rate. Other changes, including itemization, also will have an impact, but so far that little Retaliate change does appear to be biting harder than one would expect. And number 7 is Beastmaster. Beastmaster had an absolute reckoning and has dropped nearly 3.5% in his win rate. That being said, still a pretty decent hero to play even in the offlane and offers tremendous levels of game impact. So to be honest, if you really like playing Beastmaster, you may continue onwards, but just have a look at the damage. Inner Beast attack speed was reduced from 15 to 45 to 10 to 40. Hawk health was reduced drastically from 300 to 750 to 150 to 300. The level 15 challenge was changed from plus 40 board damage to plus 65 wild axis damage. The level 20 talent was changed from plus 80 wild axis damage to plus 50 board damage, which is, swapping those around is fairly devastating in my opinion. The level 25 talent tree was increased from minus 15 second Hawk's cooldown to minus 20 seconds cooldown, and the other level 25 talent was reduced from plus 30 Inner Beast attack speed to plus 25. So again, because you're pretty much always going for the Inner Beast attack speed, these are all in all really quite devastating for Beastmaster, and of course have knocked him down a shade. Still, good hero. And at number 6 is Medusa. Medusa was due a reckoning given her, relative popular use, particularly in the pro scene, and so they did. They fixed the Mystic Snake bouncing to spell immune heroes, so that is in itself, when you fix a bug like that, kind of a nerf. But the level 10 talent was reduced from plus 20 damage to plus 15 damage, because everyone always picked it. Level 15 talent was reduced from plus 35% Mystic Stake Mass Deal to plus 30%. Level 20 talent was changed from plus 700 mana to minus 4 second Mystic Snake cooldown. And then the level 25 talent was changed from plus 7 split shot targets to plus 100 mana. Again, the plus 7 split shot targets I think is fairly catastrophic. But that extra 1,000 mana could be the difference. But yeah, that is devastating for Medusa, and I think that's really taken her off the boil, witnessed by an over 3.5% reduction in her win rate. In at number 5 is Outworld Devourer. Again, another sort of staple recently in the pro scene. Sanity's Eclipse multiplier was changed from 9, 10, 11 to 8, 9, 10, and the level 15 talent was reduced from plus 30 movement speed to plus 25. So again, to be fair, not... Well, it is a major nerf, but, you know, it could be worse, I suppose. But this, naturally, of course, reduced mobility and reduced damage is going to be always painful for any hero to take, particularly given the power of Sanity's Eclipse. That's fairly awful. So, oh well, never mind. So there's Outworld Devourer losing nearly 4% on his win rate, and again, a hero on the list is actually the worst to play right now in the current meta, particularly if you're in lower skill. Timbersaw had a balance change that was, well, a little bit strange, that largely speaking seems to be negative. So Timbersaw's win rate has dropped by over 4%, which is fairly awful. But here's kind of why. Reactive armor bonus was reduced from 1.3 to 1.6 to 1 to 1.3. Reactive armor bonus health regen was reduced from 1 to 1.6 to 1 to 1.3. But then the max stacks was increased from 5 to 20 to 6 to 24. So the theory would be there that you would take more, because you could take more stacks, it ends up working out roughly the same. Well, not really. But anyway, and then Whirling Death Tree bonus damage was increased from 10 to 25 to 12 to 30. So that's a unilaterally positive. And then the level 20 talent increased from 10% cooldown reduction to 15% cooldown reduction. So, generally speaking, the reactive armor bonus for both armor and health didn't seem to be that bad, but actually it is considerably worse, because if you don't get the max stacks, which regularly can happen, you know, people are usually wise enough to go, do you know what, actually I'm not going to attack Timbersaw again and again and again and making him harder and harder and harder. You know, with insane armor. Basically, this is actually a nerf, and quite a major one, because usually you're going to hit him like a couple of times or whatever, so he's not as tanky, and so prior to getting the max stacks, he's more vulnerable, will take more damage, and it's easier to die, and regenerates not as well. So, and especially if you burst the guy as well, you know, it's basically come out as a nerf. So Timbersaw has gone off the boil. Number 3 sees Husker. Husker, again, was due a reckoning. He got that reckoning. So his attack point was reduced from 0.4 to 0.3. That's actually not that bad. That's a buff. But Berserker's Blood max attack speed was reduced from 220 to 340 to 160 to 340. So again, in the early game, where it's probably the most important, a lot worse. Life break damage and cost was reduced from 34 to 44% to 32 to 44%. So again, slightly less effective in the early to mid game, which is where Husker tends to do the most amount of damage. And then his level 15 talent was reduced from plus 15 burning, arrows, DPS to plus 10. So while there were some slight improvements in there with the attack point, generally Husker is considerably worse, and that ruins him in the early to mid game where he's the most effective. Seen his win rate drop. He went from a very meta viable hero to currently being a hero that if you spam consistently and you play like the average player does, you will lose matches more than you'll win. So do be warned of Husker. They have very successfully, unlike Beastmaster, taken him off the boil. In at number 2 is Anti-Mage. The biggest change to Anti-Mage was actually just fixing Counterspell, providing double magic resistance when the shield was active, which is fairly insane if you think about it. So the ability working properly is quite a major nerf. But remember, there are other changes as well. For example, heroes no longer gain 25% more benefit from their primary attributes. That also, for a hero like Anti-Mage, is probably fairly devastating. Again, it's hard to, at this stage in the game, fully understand the impacts of the patch, but nonetheless, Anti-Mage definitely is seeing a notable drop in win rate. And again, like Husker, not especially meta viable right now. So the biggest victim by far, though, is Slark. Slark has seen an nearly 6% drop in win rate at 5.76. Slark had one thing changed. Pounce no longer does 30, 60, 90, 100 damage. So obviously that quite drastic reduction in damage is fairly huge on the hero. So eliminating that, and it now just literally, you just leash them to a target, is really disappointing, shall we say, for the guy. But that's not probably going to be similar to Anti-Mage. Probably not the only thing. It was also the whole primary attribute. Remember, of course, he can steal agility permanently from enemies. Obviously, that's pretty nice, but with heroes no longer getting that 25% benefit from the primary attribute, that's probably also having an effect, along with, of course, itemization changes. So all in all, Slark has seen a devastating blow, and what was a very meta-viable hero, very, very, very popular, particularly in the pub scene, has now seen a popular hero go, well, fairly off the boil. So again, of every hero on the list, the only one that I recommend continuing to play with is Beastmaster. Sadly, all the rest have been boiled off. Unless you have a particularly high level of skill, you're probably going to, on average, lose games more than you're going to win them. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Please give the video a like, subscribe and share. And stay tuned for more great videos coming soon. Goodbye.